Hansol Kim stood at the large window in his office, watching the morning sun rise over New Busan. The golden light painted the sky in beautiful colors. Below him, the city was waking up. People walked to work, children played in the parks, and transport vehicles moved quietly along the clean streets. New Busan was a good place to live. The colony had grown for 20 years since the first settlers arrived. Now almost 3 million people called this world home. They had built schools, hospitals, farms, and factories. The air was clean, the water was pure, and families were happy. Hansol had been the colony administrator for 5 years. Before that, he served as a colonel in Earth's Defense Force. He knew about war and fighting, but he hoped those days were behind him. New Busan was peaceful. The people trusted him to keep them safe. His friend Bora Lee walked into the office. She was the chief of colonial defense, a strong woman who had served with Hansol in the military. Her face looked worried. "Hansol, we have a problem," she said. "Our deep space sensors are picking up something strange." Hansol turned from the window. "What kind of strange?" "Ships, big ones. They just appeared at the edge of our system." "They're not human ships," Hansol felt his stomach drop. In all the years since humans started building colonies, they had never met other intelligent life. Scientists had always said it might happen someday, but most people stopped worrying about it. "How many ships?" he asked. 43. "They're moving toward us fast." Hansol walked to his desk and pressed a button. "Taeyang, come to my office now." Taeyang Park was their best communications officer. If anyone could talk to these aliens, it would be him. Within minutes, he arrived at the office, breathing hard from running. "Sir, the alien ships are sending us a message," Taeyang said. "I can understand some of it. They want to talk." "Put it through," Hansol said. The wall screen flickered to life. A strange face appeared on it. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was deep and cold. "I am Commander Thekvar of the Velthak Dominion. You humans have built on this world without permission. This system belongs to us now." Hansol stepped forward. "I am Hansol Kim, administrator of New Busan Colony. This world was empty when we arrived. We have lived here peacefully for 20 years. The alien's 4 eyes stared at him. "Your presence is not wanted. You will leave this world immediately. Take only what you can carry. You have 1 hour. 1 hour." Hansol could not believe what he was hearing. "We have nearly 3 million people here. This is our home. We cannot just leave." "Then you will die here," Thekvar said. "Your species is weak. You build soft cities and raise weak children. The galaxy has no place for creatures like you. We will make an example of this world. Other humans will learn not to spread where they are not wanted." The screen went dark. Hansol stared at it for a moment, then turned to Bora and Taeyang. "Get me the Defense Council. Now," he said. "And start the emergency broadcast." "Tell everyone to get to the shelters." Bora ran from the room. Taeyang's fingers flew over his communication panel. Within minutes, sirens began wailing across the city. The peaceful morning was over. Hansol watched through his window as people began running. Parents carried their children. Elderly people helped each other, and everyone moved as fast as they could toward the underground shelters. The colony had built these shelters just in case, but no one ever thought they would need them. Bora returned with the Defense Council. New Busan only had 12 small defense ships and a few ground weapons. They were meant to stop pirates or small threats, not an alien fleet of 43 warships. "What are our options?" Hansol asked. "We can fight, but we cannot win," Bora said honestly. "Our ships are too small and too few. Maybe we can buy time for people to escape." "Where can they go?" "We only have a few cargo ships. They cannot carry everyone." Through the window, Hansol saw the first alien ships entering the atmosphere. They were massive, dark, and ugly. They moved like hunting animals, slow and confident. "Sir?" Taeyang called out. "I'm getting reports from the outer farms. The aliens are destroying everything. They're not trying to capture anything. They're just killing." Hansol felt his heart break. These aliens were not here to take prisoners or steal resources. They wanted to wipe out every human on New Busan. "Get as many people as possible to the cargo ships," he ordered. "Start with the children and families. Bora, take your ships and try to hold them off." Bora looked at him with sad eyes. "Hansol, you know this is goodbye." "I know." He put his hand on her shoulder. "Make them pay for every minute." Bora nodded and left to join her pilots. Hansol watched her go, knowing he would never see her again. The defense ships rose into the sky, tiny dots compared to the alien monsters. But they fought with everything they had. Han Sol saw explosions in the sky as Bora and her pilots attacked the enemy ships. They managed to damage a few, but one by one the human ships were destroyed. Tae Yang worked frantically at his station. "Sir, I'm trying to send a message to Earth, but the aliens are jamming our signals." "Keep trying," Han Sol said. "Earth needs to know what happened here." The ground shook as alien weapons hit the city. Buildings fell, fires started, and the beautiful morning turned into a nightmare. Han Sol could see people still running toward the escape ships, but there was not enough time. "I got through," Tae Yang shouted. "The message is going to Earth." Han Sol grabbed the microphone. This would be New Busan's last message to humanity. "This is Han Sol Kim on New Busan. We are under attack by aliens called the Velthak Dominion. They came without warning and gave us 1 hour to leave our world. When we refused, they began killing everyone. We fought as best we could, but they are too strong. Remember us. Remember what they did here. Make them pay." The building shook again, harder this time. Cracks appeared in the walls. Through the window, Han Sol saw the cargo ships lifting off with thousands of survivors. It was not enough, but it was something. Tae Yang looked at him. "Sir, we should go to the shelter." Han Sol shook his head. "No, a captain goes down with his ship. New Busan is my ship." The last thing Han Sol saw was a bright flash as the alien weapons found their building. But he knew that somewhere in space, ships full of survivors were racing toward Earth with news of what had happened here. The Velthak Dominion had just made the worst mistake in the history of the galaxy. They had attacked humanity's children. 6 months had passed since the last message from New Busan reached Earth. The cargo ships carrying survivors had arrived 3 months ago, bringing terrible news and broken people who had lost everything they loved. President Yoon Ji-nam sat in her office in Geneva, staring at the reports on her desk. She had read them hundreds of times, but the words never got easier. 2.8 million people dead, an entire world burned to ash, families torn apart forever. The door opened and Admiral Kyung-ho Yoon walked in. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars from the Centauri Wars. His uniform was perfect, but his eyes showed the anger he felt inside. "Madam President, the fleet is ready," he said. "Give me the word and we can launch within hours." Yoon-ji looked up at him. "How many ships do you have prepared?" 800 warships, Admiral. "Our newest and best. The aliens won't know what hit them." "And how many people will die in return?" she asked. "On both sides?" Kyung-ho's jaw tightened. "With respect, Madam President, they already killed our people. Nearly 3 million of them. They didn't ask questions or try to negotiate. They just murdered families." Yoon-ji stood and walked to the window. Below, protesters filled the streets. Some carried signs demanding war and revenge. Others called for peace and understanding. The whole world was divided about what to do next. "The diplomatic corps thinks we should try talking to them first," she said. "The diplomatic corps didn't watch children burn on New Busan." Kyung-ho replied, "I've seen the recordings from the survivors. These aliens don't want to talk. They want us dead." A knock at the door interrupted them. "Come in," Yoon-ji said. Dr. Dong-hyun Lim entered the room. He was a small, quiet man who ran Earth's most secret weapons research program. Few people knew his name, but his work kept humanity safe. "Madam President, Admiral, I have news about Project Nemesis," he said. Yoon-ji turned around. Project Nemesis was the code name for humanity's most dangerous weapon research. She had approved it years ago, hoping it would never be needed. "We've completed the first tests," Dong-hyun continued. "The quantum disruption devices work exactly as designed. We can crack a planet's core from orbit." The room fell silent. Even Admiral Kyung-ho looked shocked. "You mean we can destroy entire worlds?" the Admiral asked. "Yes. The weapon causes earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that tear a planet apart. It would take days, maybe weeks, but the result is complete destruction." President Yoon-ji felt sick. "How many people would die?" "Everyone on the planet, Madam President." There would be no survivors. She sat down heavily in her chair. This was not the kind of decision she had ever wanted to make. When she became president, she thought she would help build schools and hospitals, not decide whether to wipe out entire worlds. "There's more," Dong-hyun said quietly. "Captain Sujin Kang has sent a report from behind enemy lines." Captain Sujin was Earth's best intelligence officer. She had volunteered to sneak into alien space and gather information. It was the most dangerous mission in human history. "What did she find?" Yoon-ji asked. "The aliens are planning to attack 3 more human colonies." They call us a pest species that needs to be eliminated before we become dangerous. Admiral Kyung-ho slammed his fist on the desk. You see? They won't stop with New Busan. They want to kill every human in the galaxy, President. Unji closed her eyes and thought about the children who had died on New Busan. She thought about the families who would die on the next colonies the aliens attacked. She thought about humanity's future among the stars. When she opened her eyes, her decision was made. Admiral Kyung-ho, you have permission to launch Operation Righteous Fury, but I want you to follow strict rules. What rules, Madam President? First, we try to evacuate alien civilians before we attack their military bases. Second, we offer surrender to any enemy forces that want to stop fighting. Third, we only use the planet-killer weapons as a last resort. Kyung-ho nodded. And if they refuse to surrender, then we show them what happens when someone destroys a human colony, she said. Dr. Dong-hyun, how many Nemesis weapons do we have? 50, Madam President. More than enough. Good, Admiral. Pick your targets carefully. I want the aliens to understand that attacking humanity has consequences. Over the next 2 weeks, Earth became a hive of activity. Shipyards worked around the clock to prepare the fleet. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Scientists loaded the terrible new weapons onto the warships. In the refugee camps, survivors from New Busan watched the preparations. Ji Woo Choi had been an engineer on the colony. She had escaped in one of the last cargo ships, but her husband and children had not been so lucky. Do you think they'll win? Asked another survivor. Ji Woo looked up at the sky where Earth's warships were gathering. I don't know if they'll win, she said, but I know they'll fight, and that's more than the aliens gave us. On the last day before the fleet left, President Yoon-ji spoke to the world. Billions of people watched as she stood before the cameras. Citizens of Earth, she began. 6 months ago, aliens destroyed our colony on New Busan. They killed nearly 3 million innocent people. They did this without warning, without mercy, and without reason except hatred. Today, our fleet leaves to make sure this never happens again. We don't go to conquer or to steal. We go to protect humanity and to show the galaxy that there are consequences for murdering our families. To the families of our brave soldiers, your children go to fight for all of humanity's children. To the survivors of New Busan, we have not forgotten you and we will not let your loved ones die in vain. And to any aliens who might be listening, you taught us what total war looks like. Now we will teach you. The next morning, Admiral Kyung-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Earth's Hammer. Around him, 800 warships waited for his command. In the cargo bays, 50 planet-killer weapons sat ready to be used. All ships report ready, Admiral, his communications officer said. Then let's go remind the galaxy why you don't attack human children, Kyung-ho replied. All ships jumped to hyperspace. The fleet disappeared in flashes of light heading toward alien space. Behind them, Earth watched and waited. Ahead of them, the aliens had no idea that humanity's fury was coming for them. The war for humanity's future had begun. Commander Min-ho Song stared at the alien space station through the view screen of his ship, the Retribution. The massive structure hung in space like a dark spider, its arms reaching out in all directions. Alien ships moved around it like insects, completely unaware that death was watching them. Target confirmed, whispered Lieutenant Hae-won Jung from her position at the tactical station. 17 enemy ships, mostly cargo vessels and light patrol craft. The station has minimal shields. Min-ho nodded. Hae-won was one of the survivors from New Busan. She had watched her family die in the alien attack 8 months ago. Since then, she had become humanity's finest tactical officer, driven by a cold need for revenge. Remember the plan, Min-ho said quietly to his crew. We hit fast, we hit hard, and we leave before their reinforcements arrive. Our job is not to fight fair. Our job is to make them afraid. The Retribution was one of Earth's new stealth destroyers. It was smaller than the old warships, but much faster and nearly invisible to alien sensors. The ship could appear from nowhere, strike like lightning, and disappear before the enemy knew what hit them. Sir, we're receiving the transmission from Earth, the communications officer reported. Min-ho smiled grimly. Before every attack, Earth Command sent the same message to the aliens. It was always the same recording, played in the alien language so they would understand. The message was simple. Footage from the destruction of New Busan, showing families running for their lives, children crying and buildings falling. At the end, a voice spoke in the alien tongue. You taught us what total war means. Now we teach you. Send the message to the alien station, Minho ordered. Give them 30 seconds to watch it. Then we attack. On the alien station, Commander Vexmar was drinking his evening meal when the human transmission began. At first he was confused. Why were the weak humans sending him pictures of their own defeat? Then he understood. These images were from New Busan, the world his people had destroyed months ago. The humans were showing him what he already knew, that they were weak and helpless against the mighty Velthak Dominion. But something felt wrong. If humans were so weak, why were they sending threatening messages? And why couldn't his sensors detect where the transmission was coming from? Commander, his sensor officer called out. I'm detecting some kind of energy buildup nearby, but I can't locate the source. Impossible, Vexmar replied. Our sensors can detect anything within 1,000 kilometers. That was when the Retribution dropped its stealth field and opened fire. The human ship appeared directly above the station, so close that Vexmar could see its weapons ports glowing with energy. Laser beams and plasma missiles poured down onto the alien base, tearing through its weak shields like paper. Return fire, Vexmar screamed, but his weapons officer was already dead. The human attack was precise and deadly, targeting the station's command centers first. The alien patrol ships tried to help, but they moved too slowly. The human destroyer danced around them like a fighter against drunken farmers. Every shot from the Retribution found its target. Every shot from the aliens missed. In less than 5 minutes, the space station was a burning wreck and all 17 alien ships were destroyed. The Retribution had not received a single hit. As quickly as it had appeared, the human ship vanished back into stealth mode. Commander Vexmar died watching his station explode, never knowing how the humans had become so deadly. On Earth, Admiral Kyung Ho Yoon studied the battle reports in his command center. The human fleet had been attacking alien outposts for 2 months now, and the results were better than anyone had hoped. 43 alien bases destroyed, reported his aide. 216 enemy ships eliminated. Human casualties 0. And the psychological effect? Kyung Ho asked. The aliens are terrified, sir. Our intelligence reports say they're pulling their ships back from the border worlds. They don't understand how we became so strong so fast. Kyung Ho smiled. The aliens had made a fatal mistake when they attacked New Busan. They had thought humans were weak because they built peaceful colonies and cared for their children. They didn't understand that humans could become the most dangerous hunters in the galaxy when someone threatened their families. Across the alien empire, fear was spreading like a disease. The Velthak had always been the strongest species in their part of space. They conquered other worlds easily and ruled through terror. No one had ever fought back successfully, but now human ships appeared from nowhere like ghosts. They struck without warning and vanished before help could arrive. Alien commanders went to sleep, not knowing if they would wake up to find human weapons pointed at their heads. In the Kepler system, Sergeant Woo Jin Kim led his orbital drop marines toward an alien prison facility. Intelligence reports said the base held human prisoners from New Busan, people who had been captured during the evacuation. Remember, we're here to rescue our people, Woo Jin told his soldiers as their drop pods fell toward the planet's surface. Every human we save is a victory. Every alien who tries to stop us dies. The prison was built like a fortress with high walls and guard towers. But the aliens had designed it to keep prisoners in, not to keep attackers out. Woo Jin's Marines had trained for this kind of mission for months. The attack began with explosions as Marine demolition experts blew holes in the prison walls. Then the soldiers poured through the gaps, their advanced weapons cutting through alien guards like scissors through cloth. In the prison control room, So Young Park watched the rescue through security cameras. She had been a teacher on New Busan before the attack. Now she was trapped in an alien cage, barely alive after months of captivity. They're coming, she whispered to the other prisoners. Our people are coming for us. The alien guards panicked and ran. They had been told that humans were weak and cowardly. But these human soldiers moved like machines, killing everything in their path with cold efficiency. Woo Jin found the main prison block and used explosives to blow open the doors. Inside, he saw hundreds of humans in cages, thin and weak but still alive. This is Sergeant Woo Jin Kim of the Earth Marine Corps, he announced. We're here to take you home. So Young started crying. She had given up hope of ever seeing Earth again. But here were soldiers wearing the flag of humanity, risking their lives to save prisoners they had never met. The evacuation took 2 hours. The Marines carried out everyone who couldn't walk and provided medical care for the worst cases. When alien reinforcements finally arrived, they found an empty prison and a message burned into the ground in their own language. We protect our own. Back in space, Commander Minho received new orders from Admiral Kyung-ho. The next target was bigger and more dangerous. An alien military academy where young Velthak learned to become warriors. "Sir, are we really going to attack a school?" asked Lieutenant Haewon. Minho looked at her seriously. They didn't care that New Busan had schools when they burned it down. "This academy trains the next generation of alien warriors. If we destroy it, we prevent future wars." Haewon nodded. She understood. The aliens had shown no mercy to human children, so humanity would show no mercy to alien children who were being trained to kill. The attack on the academy was swift and brutal. The human fleet appeared without warning and destroyed the facility completely. Young aliens who might have grown up to attack human colonies died in the flames, just as human children had died on New Busan. After the battle, Admiral Kyung-ho sent another message to the alien government. This time the message was different. "You attacked our families," the message said. "You killed our children. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Every day you continue to exist, more of your people will die. Surrender now, or we will hunt you to the last planet, to the last ship, to the last alien. We are humanity, and we do not forgive." The message reached the Velthak homeworld 3 days later. For the first time in their history, the proud alien empire began to consider the possibility of defeat. They were about to learn that when humanity went to war, they went to war forever. Fleet Admiral Ji-hoon Ryu stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought New Busan's Vengeance and stared at the alien homeworld below. Veltros Prime was a beautiful planet with blue oceans and green continents. Cities sparkled like jewels across its surface. It looked peaceful and innocent, but Ji-hoon knew better. This world had sent the orders to destroy New Busan. The aliens who lived here had celebrated when human children died. They had called humanity a pest species that needed to be eliminated. "Sir, the enemy fleet is moving to intercept us," reported Captain Young-Soo Lee from his position at the tactical station. 2,000 ships, just like intelligence predicted. Ji-hoon nodded. The entire Velthak military was here, protecting their homeworld. Every warship, every fighter, every weapon they had was gathered in this system. They were making their last stand. "And our forces?" Ji-hoon asked. 200 ships, Admiral. We're outnumbered 10 to 1. Some of the younger officers looked nervous. They had won many battles during the past year, but always with superior technology and surprise attacks. This time, they would have to face the alien empire's full strength in direct combat. "Don't worry," Ji-hoon said calmly. "Numbers don't win wars. Determination wins wars. And no one is more determined than humans protecting their families." In the ship's laboratory, Dr. In-suk Kim made final checks on the Project Nemesis weapons. Each device was the size of a small car, but contained enough power to crack a planet's core. 50 of them sat in the cargo bay, ready to deliver humanity's ultimate judgment. "The weapons are functioning perfectly," she reported to Admiral Ji-hoon. "One shot from any of these will start earthquakes that will tear the planet apart within days." "Good," Ji-hoon replied. "Make sure they're ready. We might need them soon." On the surface of Veltros Prime, Supreme Commander Thekvar watched the human fleet through his command center's screens. He was the same alien who had ordered the destruction of New Busan, though he looked much older now. The past year of war had aged him terribly. "How did they get so strong so fast?" he muttered to his aide. 14 months ago, they couldn't even defend one small colony. Now they're threatening our homeworld with only 200 ships. "Sir, our generals believe the humans have developed new weapons technology," the aide replied nervously. "Our spies report that their ships are much more advanced than anything we've seen before," Thekvar snarled, showing his sharp teeth. "It doesn't matter. We have 10 times more ships than they do. Even if their weapons are better, we'll crush them with numbers." He was about to learn how wrong he was. The space battle began when the human fleet reached the outer edge of the Veltros system. Immediately, 1,000 alien fighters launched from their capital ships, swarming toward the human formation like angry insects. Captain Young-Soo Lee smiled as he watched them approach. "Just like the simulations," he said. Launch interceptor drones. From each human ship, dozens of small robotic fighters launched. They moved faster than any living pilot could handle, controlled by artificial intelligence that could think in milliseconds. The alien fighters found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by machines that never got tired, never got scared, and never missed. Within 10 minutes, all 1,000 alien fighters were destroyed. The human drones had lost only 30 units. Impossible, Tekvar whispered as he watched his fighter squadrons disappear from the tactical display. No one is that good. But the real shock came when the alien capital ships opened fire. Their massive weapons lit up space with beams of energy that could melt asteroids. Any one of those shots should have destroyed a human ship instantly. Instead, the human ships simply absorbed the attacks. Their shields flickered but held strong. The aliens were using plasma and laser weapons that had been the best technology a year ago. But humanity had studied the wreckage from New Busan and learned how to defend against them. Return fire, Admiral Ji-hoon ordered calmly. The human ships fired back with weapons the aliens had never seen before. Quantum disruptors that could tear apart matter at the atomic level, gravity bombs that crushed enemy ships like tin cans, plasma cannons that burned hotter than stars. One by one, the mighty Velthak warships began to explode. Their shields, designed to stop old-fashioned weapons, were useless against human quantum technology. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds died in seconds. General Hyunwoo Cho watched the space battle from his assault transport. He commanded 50,000 Marines who were ready to invade the alien homeworld. But as he watched the enemy fleet being destroyed, he began to wonder if an invasion would be necessary. "Sir, the enemy is requesting a ceasefire," his communications officer reported. "Tell them to surrender completely or keep fighting." Hyunwoo replied, "We didn't come here to negotiate." On Velthros Prime, panic was spreading through the cities. The alien civilians had been told that their mighty fleet would crush the human invaders easily. Instead, they watched their protectors die in the cold vacuum of space. Tekvar tried desperately to rally his remaining forces. "All ships, focus fire on their flagship. If we can kill their admiral, maybe we can still win." But it was too late. The human fleet had cut through the alien defenses like a knife through butter. In 3 hours of fighting, 2,000 alien ships had been reduced to less than 200 survivors. Admiral Ji-hoon opened a communication channel to the alien homeworld. His face appeared on screens across the planet and his voice spoke in perfect Velthak language. "People of Velthros Prime," he began. 14 months ago, your government ordered the destruction of our colony on New Busan. Your military killed nearly 3 million human civilians, including children and elderly people. You did this without mercy, without warning, and without cause except hatred. Today we offer you the same mercy you showed our families. Dr. In-suk Kim activated the first Project Nemesis weapon. The device fell toward Velthros Prime like a small star, glowing with deadly energy. It passed through the planet's atmosphere and buried itself deep in the crust before exploding. The explosion was not large on the surface. Most aliens barely felt the ground shake, but deep underground, quantum forces began tearing at the planet's core. Fault lines cracked. Magma chambers shifted. The world itself began to die. You have 48 hours before your planet becomes uninhabitable, Admiral Ji-hoon continued his broadcast. We suggest you use that time to evacuate your children and elderly, just like we tried to do on New Busan before you murdered them. Supreme Commander Tekvar stared at his screens in horror. Seismic readings showed massive instability spreading through the planet's core. His science advisors were all shouting at once, trying to explain what the humans had done. "Can we stop it?" he asked desperately. "No, sir," his chief scientist replied. "The quantum disruption is self-sustaining. In 2 days, maybe 3, the earthquakes and volcanic eruptions will make the planet unlivable. In a week, Velthros Prime will break apart completely." Tekvar fell into his command chair. He had started this war by destroying one human world. Now the humans were destroying his entire civilization in return. Across the planet, alien families began evacuating in whatever ships they could find. The humans did not try to stop them. They simply watched as millions of aliens fled their dying world, becoming refugees just like the survivors of New Busan had been. But for every alien family that escaped, 10 more remained trapped on the doomed planet. There were simply not enough ships to save everyone. As the first major earthquakes began to shake Velthros Prime, Admiral Ji-hoon sent one final message to the fleeing aliens. "Remember this day," he said. "Remember what happens when someone attacks humanity's children.
Tell your children and tell their children.
Make sure no one ever forgets. The once mighty Velthak Empire was collapsing. Their homeworld was dying. Their fleet was destroyed. And humanity's vengeance was complete, but the humans were not finished yet. They had promises to keep. 18 months had passed since the last message from New Busan reached Earth. Now, Ambassador Sejin-O stood in what had once been the Grand Council chamber of the Velthak Empire. The beautiful building was empty except for a few alien officials who looked tired and defeated. "Ambassador O," said the alien who used to be a mighty general. Now he was just Kex Mori, leader of a broken people. "We formally surrender all remaining Velthak worlds to Earth's protection." Sejin looked at the surrender documents. 300 worlds with billions of aliens all begging humanity to protect them from other species who might try to conquer them, now that their empire had fallen. "The terms are simple," Sejin said. "No weapons, no military ships, no aggression toward any human colony or ship. In return, Earth will defend your worlds from outside threats." Kex Mori signed the papers with shaking hands. "What about war? Crimes trials? What about punishment for those who ordered the attack on New Busan?" "Supreme Commander Thekvar died when Velthros Prime broke apart," Sejin replied. "Most of his officers died with him. The few survivors will spend their lives helping to rebuild what your empire destroyed. Justice has been served." It was true. The Velthak homeworld had cracked like an egg 3 days after humanity's quantum weapon hit it. The planet was now nothing but floating chunks of rock and ice, a permanent reminder of what happened when someone attacked human families. Admiral Eugene Bay commanded Earth's new expanded fleet from her flagship orbiting the former alien capital world. Where once there had been 200 human warships, now there were 3,000. Humanity had built them using technology captured from the aliens, combined with their own quantum weapons. "Admiral, we're receiving reports from the border systems," her aide announced. "The Zenthari Republic is asking for a meeting with Earth's government." Eugene smiled. The Zenthari were another alien species that controlled several dozen worlds. Before the war, they had ignored humanity completely. Now they wanted to be friends. "Tell them our ambassador will meet with them next month," she said. "But remind them of our new policy." The new policy was simple. Any species that threatened humans or human allies would face the same fate as the Velthak Empire. Earth had proven it could destroy entire civilizations if necessary. No one wanted to test whether they would do it again. On the asteroid that had once been New Busan's moon, construction crews were finishing humanity's greatest memorial. The structure was built from the metal of destroyed Velthak warships, melted down and reformed into a beautiful monument that could be seen from space. Ji-woo Choi, now an elderly woman, walked slowly through the memorial's main hall. She had survived the destruction of New Busan and lived to see her people's revenge completed. The walls around her showed the names of every human who had died in the attack, nearly 3 million people. "Grandmother Ji-woo," said a young man walking beside her, "tell me again about the day the aliens came." The young man was her grandson, born after the war. He had never seen the beautiful world that New Busan had been, but he carried the memory in his genes, passed down through stories and tears. "It was a beautiful morning," Ji-woo said, touching her husband's name on the wall. "The sun was rising and people were going to work. Children were playing in the parks. We thought we were safe." "But you weren't safe," the young man said. "No. The aliens came without warning. They gave us 1 hour to leave our entire world behind. When we said no, they started killing everyone they could find." They walked to the center of the memorial, where a holographic display showed the last message from New Busan. Han Sol Kim's voice echoed in the chamber. "Remember us. Remember what they did here. Make them pay." "We did remember," Ji-woo said softly, "and we did make them pay." Above them, carved in letters 10 meters tall, were the words that had become humanity's promise to the galaxy. "Never forget. Never again." President-elect Jae-sung-moon was preparing for his inauguration on Earth. He would be the first leader elected after the war, and his campaign had focused on one simple message: humanity would never be caught defenseless again. His first official act would be to sign the Never Again Doctrine into law. The document was clear and direct. Any species that committed genocide against humans would face total war until they were no longer capable of threatening anyone. "Sir," his aide said, "the alien ambassadors are asking if the doctrine applies to conflicts that happened before they knew about it." "Tell them it applies to any genocide, period," Jae-sung replied. "We don't care when it happened or whether they knew about the rule. If they kill our people, we kill their civilization." It sounded harsh, but the galaxy understood. Humanity had demonstrated its power by destroying the mighty Velthak Empire in less than 2 years. No one wanted to find out what would happen if they pushed humans too far. In the outer systems, Captain Sujin Kang led a patrol fleet through space that had once belonged to the aliens. Her ships were checking on the former Velthak colonies, making sure the transition to Earth protection was going smoothly. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal from the Raxon system," her communications officer reported. "Pirates are attacking one of the former alien worlds." Sujin smiled coldly. "Set course for Raxon. Maximum speed." The pirate attack was already over by the time her fleet arrived. The criminals had fled when they detected human ships approaching. They knew better than to fight Earth's military. On the planet below, the alien colonists cheered when they saw the human flag on the rescue ships. These were the same species that had celebrated when New Busan burned. Now they depended on human protection to survive. "Thank you for saving us," the colony leader said when Sujin beamed down to the surface. "We protect everyone under Earth's shield," Sujin replied. "That's what civilized people do." The alien looked confused. "But we were your enemies. We supported the attack on your colony." "You were our enemies," Sujin agreed. "But that war is over. Now you're under our protection and we keep our promises." As years passed, the galaxy settled into its new order. Humanity controlled the largest fleet in known space. Human colonies spread to hundreds of worlds. Other species came to Earth asking for protection, trade agreements, and friendship. But everyone remembered the lesson of the Velthak Empire. In schools across the galaxy, alien children learned about New Busan and what happened when someone attacked human families. The story became a legend that parents told their children to teach them about consequences. The memorial on New Busan's moon became a pilgrimage site. Humans came to remember their dead. Aliens came to understand the price of genocide. Even species that had never met humans sent representatives to see the monument built from their enemies' destroyed warships. Ji-woo Choi lived to be 97 years old. She spent her final years speaking to students and visitors at the memorial, telling them about the world that had been lost and the price that was paid for its destruction. On the day she died, her grandson found a letter she had written to be read at her funeral. "I have lived to see justice done," the letter said. "The people who killed my family are gone. Their worlds are broken, their empire is dust. But more importantly, no one will ever attack human children again without knowing the consequences. We built something beautiful on New Busan. When aliens destroyed it, we built something even more beautiful. A galaxy where genocide has a price too high for anyone to pay. The dead of New Busan can rest in peace. Their sacrifice saved every human child who will ever be born. They saved the galaxy from the horror of unopposed evil. Remember us. Remember what we built from the ashes of our world. And never, ever let anyone forget what happens when someone destroys a human colony." The memorial on New Busan's moon still stands today. 300 years later, human children bring flowers to honor the dead. Alien children come to learn about justice and consequences. The names of 3 million victims shine in the starlight, watched over by the most powerful fleet in the galaxy, and in the depths of space. Earth's ships patrol the darkness, carrying a simple message to any species that might consider attacking humanity. We remember New Busan. We remember what you did there. Make them pay. The galaxy learned that humans don't just defend themselves. They ensure that threats are eliminated permanently. They learned too late that humanity, once awakened to war, would never sleep again.